Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. How are you guys doing? Forgive me for coming on so late. I didn't know if I was going to be on today, but I'm here. You guys know we just went through a hurricane, right? And a lot of people are still without power in some parts of the city. I think most of our people in the church now have power. Except for maybe a handful, if that. So, we are in the time of Jacob's trouble, and that's why tonight, we're going to talk about, like we did last week, keeping that oil in your lamp, what you can do to be able to preserve yourself through the time of Jacob's trouble. We've been talking about it. Elder Rawchaa has been talking about it. The Hunger Games, right? Making it through the famine, making it through their so-called New World Order, as the Most High is going to bring our Jew World Order, or our Brew World Order. Okay, so we're not worrying about what these guys are doing, but at the same time we have to think reality, because there's going to be a lot of different obstacles and variables, and we want to be able to endure to the end and make it through. There's going to be attacks, there's going to be persecution, there's going to be upsets, there's going to be obstacles, trials, tribulations. We all have to be tried as gold in the fire. You understand? But as long as we do what we need to do, walking righteously, charitable, respectful, encouraging, staying positive, staying strong, we will be able to withstand this storm, making sure that we are taking into consideration what we need to when it comes to the doctrine of Christ, making sure we're saving our food, being grateful for the shelter and the raiment that the Most High have blessed us with, because in this time, it's not so important about the so-called vain material things that you have. Those things are okay if you can actually afford them, but you must make sure that you have something for the rainy day as well. Okay, so this is not time to be discouraged. It's time to be encouraged. This is the time to fight back, to be strong, and to brace ourselves. And when we're saying these things do not have to be like, oh, it's doom and gloom. Oh my goodness. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying, we adapted in the ghetto, but now we have the Holy Spirit. We find ways now with intelligence, with wisdom, to invest. Right? I mean, there's so many things to invest. Investing in the, all the things that you need to stay prepared in these times. Hey, we talk about it all the time. Investing in, if you can, hey, whatever you think you're going to need in these times, whatever the guidance we're given, but it's so many different variables, so many different situations. Some people may need an RV. Some people may not. Some people may want to get them some land. Some people may not. Whatever you feel like it's necessary for you and your family to make it through these times. When we say these things, this does not mean that you have to get these things or you have to do these things. But all we are as teachers, and we're teaching exactly what comes from the Bible. And, some of the things are wise, but obviously we cannot like for instance, when it comes to investing, a lot of people ask me, "Oh, what do I invest in?" I can't actually legally tell you what to invest in. It's your job with your family to actually study to show yourself approved on what to invest in, so that you cannot come back and say that, hey, the church, told me to invest in this, but this failed. That's just never going to happen. Okay, so I mean, we may throw some ideas out there, but never don't study, when you're putting your own precious money in something. Okay. Obviously you need to pay attention in history, what's always going to still be available: real estate, cattle, metals. Okay. And they have this new thing out there, obviously everybody knows, is this cryptocurrency. Okay. So we need to study where we're going. Is cryptocurrency going to eventually be used for their one world order in their government? Definitely. But don't think that they are not going to financially try to benefit off of it. And it's not a sin for you to do it if you can. This is all dealing with economics, and you understand this, the new state of this world. This is where things are transitioning to. All of the countries are dumping the dollar. This is not a time to get nervous. This is a time to get wise. This is not a time to get nervous. This is a time to get wise. And, it's only so long we can ask questions. Go pick up some books. Let me tell you, it's so many crypto people you can follow on YouTube. And that way you can say, hey, if that's something you want to do or not. There's so many people who have done things like bought land on TV. On YouTube. And they're going to tell you, some of the mistakes that they did. You understand, and that they've made, and some of the improvements from them buying their first piece of land to the second piece of land. Hey, it's time for us to educate ourselves. Tonight we will be educating ourselves on, obviously, what we've been talking about for the last few weeks, saving grain. Okay, God's daily bread that we talk about in the prayer, because we are in a time of trouble. Joseph knew exactly what to do when it was plenteous, knowing that a famine was coming. We are just like Joseph. We are able to see through the scriptures, through Christ, and all of the teachers before us, what to do. All of the prophecies, we understand now what to do. Okay, maybe not in perfection, but if our God sees us trying to prepare it, obviously He's going to help us to do the rest. We see that we are being attacked on all sides. We are being attacked with the weather. We are being attacked with the food. We are being attacked with the clothing. Okay, we are being attacked. Our sisters are being attacked with this makeup, this hair. They're being attacked with their bras, and then you go, oh, you got breast cancer, not knowing, hey, it's this plastic bra that I have on. Okay, yeah. Let me tell you guys, we had to really be very wise about our enemy. And it's our brothers, our poor brothers out there are falling to this rainbow situation. Our sisters are too. And every time you see a brother, what I've noticed, I'm like, every time I see these guys, why are they all leaned back? As if they're getting ready to do the Matrix move. You know what I mean? Why are all the guys leaned back who's a part of the rainbow thing? Why do they all kind of have it's like, why are their eyes always, why is it all like that? But I found out that it's a familiar spirit of the serpent. You notice how the serpent leans back like this? You notice how the serpent leans back like that? So these guys are fitting the same spirit as that serpent in the garden. I noticed, I'm like, why is all the brothers, the brothers are leaning back way more than sisters. They, it's like every time I see these guys, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like they can't stop, the position that they're in. They can't loosen up. It just, you know what I mean? I'm working out in the gym the other day, and this is a side note. I'm just trying to do some little abs with my wife. It's this, no disrespect, I just don't know another way to put it. It's this obese man. He's an older man. Looks like he's old enough to be my father. He's a little sloppy. I'm gonna be honest. He looks very sloppy and greasy, like he's just gonna eat a burger with grease just falling all over the place. He just looked very sloppy. He's in the gym. He's always very loud. He has his earphones on, dancing like a woman, and he's just constantly looking at me. I'm doing my little ab stuff, and I'm like, hey, brother, I don't know what you thinking, but you see this queen right here? I'm good over here. And he just, every time he get, look. So we getting attacked on all sides. That's what I'm saying. And the Most High is not going to allow this evil to continue forever. But he will allow the enemy, when we're talking about the devil himself and his fallen angels and the elite, to attack our people through Jacob's trouble. And don't think that they will not try to come for us in some capacity. Only what the Most High will allow them to. So with that being said, they may not be able to touch us physically and kill us all, but they don't think they won't come with their storms. Don't think they won't come with their famine and things that they can actually control. So we need to take a part and take control of what we can actually control. That's what I'm saying. Right? I know I got people cracking up out there, but these guys are, they crazy. At least, even though it's all wrong, at least because the sisters, when they try to do it, they try to act more of a man till they see a Judah gorilla coming around the corner. When they hear a proper deep voice, or when they see a man with some shoulders, all the time I see them coming around, and I don't know if they're whatever you call it, dyking or not, inside the rainbow thing. I'm like, how you doing? Because I don't know. I'm not just assuming that's what they are. And they turn right back into a woman for a second. You know what I mean? They trying to study me to see how to be on a chick. You know what I mean? Why don't you just go let her get a real man? But anyway, that's besides the point. So I want to open up the calls. It's already late. Obviously, I came on late, but I want to open up the calls because I do want to see what's going on with some of the people out there, if possible, because I know it's late. So I'm going to, after this song, go ahead and open up the lines before we go into this bread video that we've been preparing. Had to make a quick documentary, very quick, okay, because I'm very busy. So that's really what took me to come on so long, all right? So yeah, I want to see if some of the people out there are okay, because Chicago also, this so-called weather modification seems to be going to it seems to be going where it pleases. I mean, I know you guys just seen what happened with the Trump thing. I mean, we can talk about that too in the call, but we have to be very careful on how we word it. I just want to know, in your opinion, do you think that they had a great production? So I don't want to hear anything about staged, fake. Well, let's not use those words. But do you guys think that it was a great play? That's all. If you call, make sure you say, hey, I think it was a great play. I mean, the actors did such an amazing job. I mean, they need a Grammy. You see, they need a Trumpy. Hey, let me tell you, these people talking about USA. How is it USA if it's so-called USA, man, supposedly took the hit? And you don't notice the narrative changing. Me and Elder Rawchaa was talking. I mean, the narrative changed from, it always is this way. The narrative changed from one thing to 1,000 things in 3 days. They showing movies of this happening before this, and let me tell you, they saying he got hit in the ear and didn't get hit in the ear. He glass hit and then that hit him, and then he got a hole. He done found that he got a hole in his suit jacket. I seen what was the lady, boy? The lady by the car. What was she? Did y'all see the lady by the car? I'm trying to find me some glasses because I think these glasses only got one little thing on it. Did you see the little lady by the car? The lady's Secret Service security. She was by the car. You talking about top flight security? Top flight. That was low flight. That was low flight security. I'm gonna tell you right now. She gets him in the car. She's like, You listen, Edom. I don't know how Edom gets some of these Hollywood roles, boy. I'm gonna tell you, but I'm gonna give it to them. They did a great. I have to say they did a great job acting, and you know I'm being sarcastic. You talking about horrible. One of the most horrible plays. Look, Elder Rawchaa said she couldn't put away her weapon, and then you had one of the policemen or whatever position whatever rank he was in. This guy pointed his whatever firearm he had. I don't know if it was an AR or whatever. He pointed it when they put Trump in the vehicle. He pointed that at the vehicle. I was like, wait, what? I was like, what is going on here? But anyway, I'm going to open up the lines in a second. But first, I want to play this song because it fits the time, fits the mood by Elder Rawchaa himself. Okay, so we're going to play this fair use for educational purposes only. So after the fire is gone, we got to make sure people listening and preparing and doing what they need to do, okay? Let's play this song really quick.
Return now to the ongoing chaos in Hong Kong, where we have...
After the earth shook.
It's being called a catastrophe of major proportions.
An extraterrestrial invasion.
What's that smell?
No lights. Oh, who's there?
What's going on inside my house? Fire! Hey, what's all this?
It's cold in here. It's so cold in here. Come here, hey, come here. What's that?
Police! What? My brother was talking about
The Most High God of Israel will send a judge. He's sitting soon. He's coming soon. Are you ready?
He told me martial law was coming.
Who's at my door?
Elder Rawchaa. They was teaching me, but I ain't
What are you doing? Let go of me!
Get the girl!
No! Hold
Let's shoot!
Lieutenant, sir, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to murder my own people. You do your job, soldier. They're innocent.
He told me!
Somebody help me! Help me, please!
I should have listened.
All those things I was chasing, man. I should have listened. I should have changed my life.
I should.
The sky's no longer blue. Send your angels to pull us through. See what your world's come to, and it's plaguing us all since the fall. Lord, I know we must be strong through it all, and I know we must endure, 'cause we served too long, but now it's over. A strong wind coming, there's trouble in this storm. Nowhere to run, no peace, and there's no calm. So tell me, where will you go? I see people, they're running, the hell is coming strong. So tell me, who will stand after the fire's gone? No more society, the storm took everything. No waking from this dream, we must withstand the rain, the rain. Oh Lord, we are the chosen, we must go through it all, and I know we must believe.
fire's gone. See, there's no need to run. There's no shelter can save us from the rain that we all knew would come. Yeah, the sky is dark. There's no more day. I knew this time would come my way, and just like no one's day, the storm has come. It took them away. The storm is come. Ooh, it's finally Judgment Day. Ooh. So tell me, where will you go? I see people, they're running. The hell is coming strong. So tell me, who will stand after the fire's gone? He's in the storm. Who will stand after the fire's gone?
know what I'm talking about? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A timely song, a timely prophetic song for this time. Right? So let us now see what's going on in a few areas. It seems that I don't know how, they just continue to hit certain particular inner cities of what we would call modern day Jerusalem, Houston, Dallas, right? LA, right? Chicago, Philadelphia, Baltimore, right? They continue, obviously it's way more. I'm not going to sit here and name every one, but they continue to, with these storms, it seems like a military operation, in my opinion, because the same thing that went on in Katrina, these little beta tests where they're actually putting money on giving stipends on cards for people. Some people, I'm going to be honest with you, I was out here before the truth when this stuff happened. I seen FEMA operating on a different level. I seen whole malls being taken over. At this time, I was in San Antonio. There was a whole mall that used to be a proper mall taken over when a disaster came. I mean, these people were so-called refugees all over the place. Let me tell you, you're talking about families being split. People didn't know where their sons were, daughters, cousins, grandmas. I mean, and some of them later found each other. Hey, my aunt, I found her. She's in Utah. This person's in a whole other state. Guys, they are still doing the same thing from that time with these storms, bringing people into these so-called shelters. So I want to put this out there, even though I know that FEMA, on a low level, they can probably help replace some food and do some basic things. But, listen, and I know there's some poor and people out there who have to survive off of the social system. I understand that, but you have to understand that there's going to be a limit for you one day, because eventually these things will spill over into you having to get the mark of the beast to actually receive some of these benefits from the government. So we want to slowly start building our family and our household to work towards something better. Okay? And hey, we understand that some of our people have had hard times. That's what the social system is for. But you don't want to, what they want our people to do is live comfortable off of it forever. You don't want to live comfortable off of it forever. Be wise. I mean, I saw a video where, hey, there's a sister, hey, she was on food stamps, whatever, and she was like, hey, while I'm on it, I done found out how to get land, You know what I mean? She didn't find out how to get her a little plot of land. This sister was buying fruit trees with the EBT card. And then, yeah. So some people are wise, and you know, they will know how to, you know, make the best out of what they have now. And the Most High, seeing how they use their wits and their wisdom now, he will now bless them with a better situation later. They buying seeds, they buying all type of stuff. You know what I mean? On Amazon, it's so many different things that you can do. But what I'm saying is, it's not about our people staying in the mindset of let's try to work the system. No, how about we try to work our way up to something better and out of it? Because with these storms and these disasters that they're bringing, and I told you guys that they said after 2020 they would bring the climate change initiative, right? Because eventually they're going to try to push this thing of, you know, going green and clean energy. That's what's coming. New digital money, going green and clean energy. We really need to study and start to pay attention to what's going on. Okay? A lot of banks are closing. I just looked that up. It's news every day. Well, it's not saying the banks are going to just totally close but you may have to operate them online. When you go to the bank again, they may be updated where it's total AI system. Okay? This is what's going on right now. Okay? So Wells Fargo, Bank of America, this is not your time to worry. This is your time to adapt. Find out what's going on in the financial sector. If you don't know, it's time to educate yourself now. It's time. It's time for you. Listen, you got YouTube, you got Google, you got books. And it's news. The news itself will give you the actual information. And then you can take some of that and go study, write down notes, and start actually educating yourself. We all could educate ourselves a little bit better. None of us are experts. Right? I'm not an expert, but Israel is good. Israel is good at whatever we do. So, hey, you can be good at learning how to manage money, learning how to move money, just learning the basic things. And you don't have to be all over the place. Become good at one or two things. Okay? I'm telling you guys, it's time for us to not crawl and be like, oh my God, save us. We're going to have to pray for him to save us anyway. But I think if you were a God, if I was a God and I look at my creation and I see those who are fighting, even though they're going through all of this, and I see another person going through the same thing, just lying down, I am realistically going to want to help the person who's not complaining and fighting through it. We talked about this last week. So it's not time to lie down. We are a kingdom. As this kingdom falls, we're building our kingdom. Okay? So let us see what's going on, because I heard that there was some action, that it actually snowed. That it actually snowed a little bit in Philadelphia. I'm like, boy, this weather is all over the place right now, huh? Fair use for educational purposes only. This is Fox Weather.
Is that for all of you weather nerds, maybe even just everybody in general. So Philadelphia International Airport breaking a record that stands more than 100 years. It's a daily, get this, snowfall record for July. Record for July. Exactly what? So National Weather Service Mount Holly recording a trace of snow yesterday due to...
He said exactly what? It's summertime. What is going on? Why do we have snow? But Baruch, in 3rd Baruch, he told us in the pseudepigrapha that, hey, it's going to be situations all over the place, right? Some things will come into, you understand, another... you understand destruction. This destruction will go into that destruction, and they will mix. It's going to be all over the place. And only the people who will understand is the righteous who can actually see. Okay, this is not a blame against our people because they've been trodden down and they would not know. But I'm going to tell you, even when I saw the Trump thing, I said, boy, lots of people are actually believing what they saw with their own eyes. And I think some people either want to believe it or they want to believe this narrative that Trump is going to save us. Listen, we are not here for Trump. But the reality is the Republican Party has always been way better, obviously, than the Democrat Party. But hey, we are here for Christ. But if while we're here, even whether it's staged or it's a play or not, whatever the case may be, we'll take whatever benefits come with getting us into the kingdom. As long as it does not compromise our soul or compromise us having to take something in our head or something in our arm. So don't be deceived by Elon Musk, Musty, Don't be deceived by, you understand, all of these elite. All right? I'm sure that a lot of you guys are not deceived by these so-called celebrities anymore, right? Especially the men. The men, I mean, they did a number on our men. I seen Chris Brown painting his nails. It's not shocking to me. He's been at Puffy parties a lot. I mean, I seen him at the Puffy party dancing, having a great time, doing the Michael Jackson and all that. So, I mean, unfortunately, I pray my brother comes to Christ, and he can, and I pray that he repents, because all of those brothers can repent. And I pray that they do, honestly, all jokes aside, but I still have to let you know, if you're listening and watching, you're wrong for that. Snoop Dogg, you're wrong for that. All of you rappers who does these things, you're wrong for that. Okay? You're wrong. So are we not done with the celebrities fooling us? Okay, cool. And let me tell you, they got this song out there that just straight ratchet. And I'm seeing a lot of sisters playing these things on their stories, all this thing. You know, what's this thing out there? I mean, you sisters loving this ratchet garbage. It's a lot of things we need to be focusing on, how to be a good wife, how to be a daughter of Zion. It's time to let that stuff go. They got this song, these sexy red type songs. I'm pretty than a mother. You know, these bees be okay. I'm like, the sound of it, our sisters just love. It's like we got to let go of the ratchet. And, you know, they in there, it's like our sisters think the ghetto cute thing is still cool. Just let it go. Or, hey, you're gonna be Lot's wife. You're going to be Lot's wife. All right? So, maybe one of the hood rat guys pick you up. But you're going to be Lot's wife. Because you ain't getting into the kingdom talking about, I'm pretty than a... Bees be like, okay. No, that's total peasantry, total garbage. Okay? Leave the sexy red vibes alone. Okay? So, but anyway, let not any of these things out here that's going on deceive us. Okay? Especially the simple things. Let us continue this. Because this is what's going on right now. The devil is attacking our people in the inner cities and rounding them up, the people who are what? Not prepared.
Hail produced during a round of severe thunderstorms. While this is unusual, it's not unheard of, and the National Weather Service has recorded trace amounts of summer snow due to hail 13 other times since 1911. So this area was under severe thunderstorm warning yesterday afternoon. Just curious, how do you guys feel about this? Should it count toward a snowfall total?
I mean, my opinion is that since it happened at the airport, it has to somehow be documented. And so, you know how hailstorms are, though. I mean, we should task Weather Presentation with making a trace graphic.
You notice how all the news people are always happy. I'm starting to remember what's that movie that Roddy Piper was on? Is it They Live with the glasses? They're always happy. Fair use for educational purposes only. This is NBC Chicago. I pray that our people are out there good in Chicago. I know they were praying for us, and we're also praying for them, and wherever else they want to point this so-called HARP system and this weather modification tools, these fallen angel technology, right, to try to destroy our people.
Spread. Sandra Torres is in Chicago taking a look at damage in the city. Let's go live to her now. Where are you, Sandra?
Hey there, Kate. So we are in the Illinois Medical District right off of Polk Street near Ashland Avenue, and you can see behind me this massive tree that fell here on Polk Street, and it's now blocking the street. Folks are driving up not realizing that this tree is blocking it and then having to turn around. It landed on one specific vehicle across the street here, but others were impacted as well. Just a few scratches, though, it seems. Nothing major on this side, but you can just see from this angle just how large this tree is. And talking to folks who live in the area, we came across this man who said, oh, that's my girlfriend's car. The tree narrowly missed it. But here's what he had to say.
Waking up, I thought it was, just going to be a little bit wet, but coming out of here, I was just going to run down Ashland here until I saw this tree covering the entire street, and the first thing I thought was, holy cow, I hope the car's okay. So looks like I got lucky.
Isn't it something with all of this stuff going on in Chicago, all of a sudden this storm is headed towards that area? And let me tell you, this storm, hit. I'm like, since when a hurricane just came and said, I'm going to hit every town in Houston. I'm not going to miss one. every town in Houston I'm going to hit. I'm just like, I mean, we sitting here like, yeah, what's really going on? 6 to 12 hours of 80-mile-per-hour wind gust? I mean, goodness gracious, guys. I mean, I pray the Most High helps us through this thing.
It's my girlfriend's car, but doesn't look like it's gotten any scratches, just some leaves on it.
Why do I use Navan?
But we talked about it last week. How that actual demon, is responsible for these things. So this is straight demonic work. The same thing you see here is the same thing that you saw in Houston. Okay, that same demon is still operating, guys.
But another vehicle did not. You can see
what
this
else
other
is going on there.
The street was blocked with all these trees, but we do know a lot of traffic lights are out throughout.
In some of the hardest hit areas, including Joliet, Streeter, University Park, and Freeport. More than 3,000 utility workers are working around the clock to
was also hit hard. This warehouse lost its roof. We saw workers making repairs already today.
And Shanahan has already confirmed.
Listen, let me tell you, next thing you're going to know, if this stuff going to keep going on, then you're going to have the UN or somebody coming out, or one of our presidents coming out and say, you know, the climate change is blank, 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 and we need to do this. No, you should have been doing it. You should have been fixing sewer systems, making them better. You shouldn't have been giving all of our money to Ukraine, right? You should have been fixed the power grid. If you know we're going to constantly have these so-called man-made hurricanes and so-called storms, you should have been fixing these things. People are paying all this money for these houses and subdivisions. You would think that with all the technology we have, right, that these people could have made a giant Generac in the neighborhood. If I'm going to pay all this money for the subdivision, hey, let it come with a Generac already. But that's not how it was made. It was made for them to, right, grandize themselves off of these people, because America is just one big giant corporation. It's just one big giant corporation. And a few handful of people all own the same thing. Fair use for educational purposes only. We are now at CBS News Texas, and I pray that everybody who went through this is okay.
Without power and a long road of recovery ahead. That's right. So CBS morning reporter Omar Villafranca is in the middle of it all right now in Channelview, that's just east of Houston. Omar, thank you so much for joining us.
Now, we've been reporting that over 1 million people are so without power. So how are people staying safe in this heat without electricity?
And the latest numbers we're seeing, about 1.7 million people, customers actually, without power. There can be a customer that may have 3 or 4 people in that home, but that's considered one customer, but that number obviously may be bigger. We're hearing right now generators in this neighborhood here in Channelview for the folks who do have them, trying to get maybe a fan running or maybe a small air conditioning unit running. And this is why. Your trees and power lines are just downed all around here. And that's going to be a big issue because today we're expecting the heat index to get around 105 degrees. That's the feel-like temperature. And if you've ever spent any time in Houston, you know it is absolutely brutal with that humidity. In fact, we were talking to a woman yesterday, quick little interview outside, and during the interview, she actually got lightheaded.
Guys, it's not like Houston have not been through this since I've been a child. It's not like Houston, one of the Houston floods. I don't personally don't live in Houston. I live on the outskirts. I don't really want to be in the hood, or I go there for the work of the Most High, but I really don't want to live in Houston knowing all of these things that goes on there personally. But some people have to. And you would have thought that these people would have fixed these sewer systems. Houston, hey, it floods like crazy. It's one of the top flooding places in Texas. So some people choose to say, hey, I'm going to move to Texas or Houston, but I'm going to live a little bit on the outside of Houston. That way, in an emergency, I'm not stuck and locked in. People couldn't leave because roads were blocked. Trees were in the way, right? Right? You had the police doing checkpoints. You know what I mean? So it was all types of things going on. Roads flooded. And you have some, it's so frustrating because you have some places right now at this moment where one block has power and the one right next to it doesn't. So you have these people living with some type of hope, like, hey, how do they have power and I don't have power? People are pulling guns on Centerpoint, Centerpoint Energy, the people who are over the lights. Yeah, they didn't kill one of the Centerpoint people, pull guns on them. And it's all wrong. But the whole deal is, I mean, after a while, you can't blame the people for certain things. When are you taking all of this money from the people paying their tax dollars, and you're not fixing the grid, knowing you have the technology to? You have rich places this time who got hit, who still don't have power, or their power went out. Totally ridiculous. That's when it's like, out of all of the storms, these so-called rich places, they've never, really just been hit like that. All of a sudden they're being hit. That's how I know it's this climate change initiative. I know it. Philadelphia snowing in the summertime. It's like, what's really going on? And these are just the places that we know, right? Because we know we don't get the news from overseas of what's going on over there.
And we had to sit down, find some shade and some cold water. But that's what people are going to when they try to stay outside because they can't be inside. Side note, people are really upset because Centerpoint Energy's outage map is out and has been out since May. They're the main power.
Guys, this is not going to end how you think it is. These people are going to come in to try to be the savior when this climate change, upon the end of this climate change initiative. You just watch. Banks are closing as we speak. This green energy is coming in as we speak. You have to see the things that they are slowly trying to usher in. How can you know? Go and see what everybody is investing in now. The big companies, see what they are investing in.
People down here. Well, so Texans are turning to the Whataburger app because Whataburger has something to where you can find out near you, oh, that Whataburger's open, oh, that one's closed. So people are using the Whataburger app as a guide to see if power is back on.
Yeah, it's got to be such a frustrating
Madison,
situation
Carmen?
that folks.
Well, I'll leave it there. I'll open it up. I'll open up the calls, now. But we're getting ready to go into the call-in number. If you want to call in, is 281-973-6872. You can call in to say, hey, if you were in the hurricane, or hey, or you want to talk about, you understand, if you think that the Trump situation was a play or not. We're gonna say a play. We're not gonna say anything about staged or fake. If it was a play, and how you think their acting was, or do you think that, hey, it was real or not? But or if you guys are in Chicago, and you witnessed anything out there, you understand, are you guys okay? So you'll get your time to call in. You can go ahead and call in now if you want to, but I'm going to go ahead and move to the next segment of the show, which is why it's important, especially in these times, to make sure that we have our food on point, our water, and our emergency supplies. But specifically today, we're going to be talking about the bread, because we save a lot of pasta, we save a lot of rice, and these things are good, but these things are really sugars. And there's nothing wrong with sugars. Once again, I'm not saying something that's wrong. No. But, I'll say this. Anytime you go to a bakery, whether you're a child or an adult, every time you go to the grocery store, don't lie to yourself. Even though we know some of these grocery stores, boy, you don't want to eat the bread in their bakeries. That thing got 1,000 preservatives. I am not buying anything from my local HEB bakery at all. I'm just telling you the truth. Please don't ever bring it to me, because I will not eat it. I'm going to give it to my chickens. I'm just telling you the truth. So, and here, from here on out, I love you guys, but I'm not being bougie, but I'm learning so much about fragrances, and I'm talking about artificial fragrances turn on, let's just say, some C cells. I learned that. Okay, so I don't want, if it's not essential oils, if it's not organic essential oil fragrance, like the natural, not fragrance oils, essential oils that God made himself, I don't want it. And even me, I only purchase food grade essential oils, or the ones that go on the skin. That's it. So I'm not doing that anymore. It got to be 100% cotton. You give me something, it's just what it is, because one, I feel the difference. Two, I don't want plastic flowing through my bloodstream. It's so much that I'm learning. hey, I don't even use lotion. We ain't used lotion since we've been in Egypt. There's something living called virgin coconut oil, olive oil you can put in your skin. So I'm just saying, it's not about being bougie. It's about being wise and trying to live as long as possible, because these people are hitting us from all sides. So why am I talking about the bread? Because, hey, one, if you outside and you make a little oven out of some, I've seen how these East Indians and these people overseas work. They can make a little oven out of some mud, whatever. However, if you gotta buy a portable oven, I'm not talking about a barbecue pit. We got a caller coming in. We got 909 area code. Who we got calling in?
Shalom, Elder. This is Brother Justin over here in the Las Vegas body.
Hey, how are you doing, Brother Justin?
I'm doing pretty well. I had a question, but before I get to the question, I wanted to say that it was a good production. It was a good production. They need an Oscar for that.
Okay. So you thought it was a great production. Me too, my brother. We you know what? We might have to come together and pitch in a little money and give him an Oscar for that, because Esau did one of them Roman plays in front of everybody.
Yes, sir. But my question that I had a question in regards to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25. I know it's a little bit off topic, but just something that came into my mind that I wanted to ask about when it speaks about husbands loving your wives as Christ loved the church. So my question is, how specifically did Christ love the church in a way where a husband should be loving his wife specifically?
Well, I don't want to throw the whole show off for that, because it's going to take me all the way off topic. I really want to keep it on subject. And but you can call in again with that question on another one of our shows when it comes to relationships, because I am going to do another one soon on things like that. So I'd rather you call in on that day, because that's going to throw me all off of all the thoughts that's coming in. So and I don't want to deny your question, because if I go into that, it's going to really take the time away, already being late, to go into what these people have been waiting on. I'm sorry, my brother Justin. Just do me that favor. If you don't mind, you can hold that, or you can email us, and we'll get you that. But I would like to do it on the show. That would be very nice, because it's something that's very important, because we're going to need each other in these times. And I'm going to tell you, it's very important. I think Elder was just going into it on his last Sabbath class. So I would have loved for you to call in to try to get that question in on that actual topic. But let me go ahead and get to the next call.
Yes, sir. Shalom.
My man, shalom. Now listen, great question though. But I want you guys to keep it on the subject that we're dealing with tonight, okay? So back to what I was saying. The grain is so important because, one, our forefather was led by the Most High, and we're talking about Joseph, to actually keep the grain. And we're not just talking about one grain, all the grain. Okay? We got another caller, 346. Who we have calling in?
This is Kenyatta from the Houston body.
Who?
Shalom, Elder. Kenyatta Day. Shalom, Elder from the Houston body.
Shalom, Brother Kenyatta. What you got for me?
It was a terrible production. And
what are we talking about here, so the people can know? Because the people, the listeners who may just be coming in.
The Trump situation.
Okay. So he said the Trump situation was a terrible production.
Yes. I was a military cop in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And we had President Obama come to our base. And the way we had security set up, anytime there's an American big asset like that, you can't get past security. You can't get past Secret Service. You can't get past any checkpoint. And so this random, he looked like a young teenager. Got past our security, climbed up on the roof, and got shots off towards, an asset like that. That's not going to happen in real life.
It's not going exactly. And I think as Americans, we've seen a lot, and I think we all know. Like, listen, if top flight security is hiring Secret Service right now, that maybe that's why that happened. But I can tell you right now, one, let me tell you, they don't miss. Two, when they want to get you, they're going to get you. And it was, whoa, horrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just everything about it. Look how Secret Service responded. They do better than that in the movies. Number one, they do. If you watch any movie when the president's getting attacked or anybody like that, they hop on him so fast and get him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were trying to cue the people, hey, get down. There's a video of a lady. She's holding up a sign at first. She's smiling. The shots go off. She pauses, puts the signs down, pulls out her cell phone to take a video of it.
Mm.
And they're still trying to cue the people to get down, and they're so slow to react. They're like, oh, we're supposed to get down now? Okay. Like, it was terrible.
Let me ask you a question, brother. Not to interrupt you. You say you're in Houston, right?
Yes.
So did you go through that storm?
Yes, I did.
How did you make it through that storm, sir?
Well, actually, woke me up and came in early in the morning, and I could hear some of the transformers going out. And I could hear the ones in the distance going off first, and then of course I looked out the window to see, and then you could see some of the lights going out. And at the time I still had power. So
okay. Did your power go out at all, or like
Oh yeah, power went out. Trees came down in my backyard in the neighborhood. A couple of trees blocked the way out the neighborhood. We had to go another way to get out, but.
Boy, you would have thought we was in Kansas. I seen so many suburban neighborhood fences that's down still to this day. I mean, it was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. Like I don't know if people know, but it was pretty bad. So we're praying for you guys out there, who probably going to see this later, who may not have power. But I'm praising the Most High because our leaders were in contact, making sure everybody had power if they needed anything. And some people said, hey, I don't have power, but I kind of want to go through this as a test to strengthen myself for the times to come. So I respected that too, because sometimes I'm like that. I'm like, you know what? Nope. I want to get this practice. You want to stand to be better. But with that being said, we still made sure that if these people needed a place to come, that they would have it. So I want to thank you for calling in, my brother. I need to get to this bread video, but thanks for calling in tonight. My man. Shalom. All right, guys. So, once again, the grain is it can last indefinitely, and we're gonna show it in this little documentary that we did, and hopefully you guys can gravitate to it and realize how important it was for our forefathers to actually Joseph to actually be able to sustain all of Egypt and the surrounding areas with this actual grain, corn, einkorn, kamut, spelt, whatever it was, whatever grain it was. Okay, so let us go ahead and go into it. We're going to put the calls off for now to go into it so they were not interrupted with it, and the people who have been waiting on this can actually get it. Okay, because it's groundbreaking and it's great wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And once again, if you want to get some of this grain, you can go to Amazon. You can Google how to get it. But as your standards right now, when it comes to prices of organic and non-GMO grain, is just kind of beating the competition. You just have to go and help them unload their truck. But if you do not want to help them unload their truck, you're probably going to have to try to get with someone and buy it in great bulk. Okay? But you're going to have a place to store it properly, or it's just not going to do right. Okay? You will waste all your money if you do not store it airtight and right. Okay? They have these big 50-gallon containers that they seal airtight. You can put your diatomaceous earth in there to be able to actually and I'll show a video on how to do that, on how you can store it. Very simple. I store corn. I love that blue corn, boy. We make some cornbread out of that blue corn, because I really don't buy corn from the grocery store that much unless I see number 4, number 3, or number 9, which is organic. If it's not conventionally grown where I can wash off any pesticides, or if it's not organic, I just don't get it. And even when it comes to different products there, it must be organic because it can be very detrimental to the immune system. Not alleged, but in real life. So, all right, without further ado, let me go ahead and 1 minute, take this off and go ahead and, you know, put this on really quick. Keep up with us. And if we have any questions, we will try our best to answer some of the questions tonight, but it's pretty late, so I don't know. I might have to do another Q&A on it another time, but it all depends because it's late. One, I want to make sure everyone hits that like button because yeah, we want people to be educated to start baking this bread. Sisters, you're gonna have your children happy. You're gonna have your brothers happy, your husbands happy. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys something. There's some people who's out there in our body who's already good at making bread. So this is really just going to be right up their alley because we are not experts at making bread. I mean, I've been baking bread since Egypt. My wife bakes bread. My children bake bread. They make me pizza. The pizza tastes way better than any pizza place out there. One, because of the bread, you're getting the nutrients, and I let them know, don't waste that crust. And if they don't want to eat the crust, it's going to go to the chickens, and the chickens are going to get it. But I don't want to eat pizza from outside, to be honest with you. You can make your hot dog buns from it. Your hamburger buns. Very simple. So those of you who are already making bread, some of the sisters are even making sourdough bread. All you pretty much are going to be doing is just grinding it fresh. And a lot of people who was like, if I grind it fresh, why does the consistency come out? So you're going to learn how to find your own recipes. We're just giving you one basic recipes, and in time we will give you some more recipes that we learn. But we are not YouTube liars. We make loaves, we make all of this stuff, but we haven't been doing it long enough to just call ourselves experts, how all of these lying YouTubers do. Some of you are experts. You just need to add this to your arsenal and do it. So even a novice will have their family so happy when that bread is coming out the oven. And you're going to get so good at it where you're going to be following what the Bible says. It's going to be daily bread because it's just like a daily vitamin, okay? And if you're storing this, you're actually going to be able to sustain your nutrients, minerals, and your vitamins instead of just having some sugars from pasta and rice. It's just going to keep you full. You don't want to actually be lacking nutrition in a time of trouble. And for some reason, when you smell that bread, everybody's just happy. It's like you can tell mama or grandmama or auntie or sister or somebody's in the kitchen, okay? And brothers, hey, you can learn how to do it too, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't had to get in that kitchen in a long time. And they like, when I come in the kitchen cooking, they like, oh, daddy, you in the kitchen cooking? But they be holding it down. I got all these girls. So without further ado, let me go ahead and make it happen for you guys. All right, I know I'll be talking like an old man. I'm an old spirited young man, so let's get it.
In a world filled with uncertainties, from economic instability to climatic changes, ensuring the survival and well-being of our families becomes paramount. Today, we delve into a crucial subject that transcends time and geography. The ancient practice of saving grain and milling our own wheat. This practice is not just a nod to history, but a potential lifeline for the future. The time to start saving grain is now. Welcome to Lyons Homestead.
Hello, and welcome back to Lyons Homestead. Our journey began as a family leaving the city for a holistic, natural lifestyle in the countryside. Today, we're exploring a topic close to our hearts and stomachs, the profound importance of saving grain and milling our own wheat at home. By the end of this documentary, you'll understand why this practice could literally save your life and the lives of those you care about the most. This information is for everyone, so like and share this video, full of vital information with your family, coworkers, and friends. Let's get into it.
Throughout history, grain has been a cornerstone of human survival. Archaeological evidence from Israel, dating back thousands of years, reveals stone artifacts embedded with grains and ancient hearths used for baking bread. Grain, particularly wheat, has been a vital source of sustenance since the dawn of civilization. Consider the story of Joseph from the Bible. Joseph was divinely guided by God through the Pharaoh's dream to store wheat, which ultimately saved not only Egypt but the surrounding nations from
Fair use for educational purposes only and religious purposes only. Fair use.
famine. Joseph, a key figure in the book of Genesis in the King James Version of the Bible, implemented a strategic plan to save grain during 7 years of plenty to prepare for an ensuing 7 years of famine. I will describe in detail how he achieved this goal and how we may very well learn from this historical tale of Joseph. Joseph advised Pharaoh to prepare for the upcoming famine by storing surplus grain during the years of abundance. He suggested appointing a wise and discerning man to oversee this task. In Genesis 41, 33 through 36, it read Joseph's specific advice to the Pharaoh. Now therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish, not through the famine. Impressed by Joseph's interpretation and wisdom, Pharaoh appointed Joseph as the second in command over Egypt, giving him authority to carry out the plan. Joseph traveled throughout Egypt, organizing the collection and storage of grain during the 7 years of plenty. He gathered a 5th of the produce during these years. According to Genesis 41, 48 through 49, Joseph stored the grain in large quantities in various cities. The grain collected was like the sand of the sea, so much so that they stopped keeping records because it was beyond measure. When the 7 years of famine began, Joseph opened the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians and to people from surrounding countries who came to Egypt to buy grain. His effective management not only saved Egypt, but also provided food for other nations, demonstrating the far-reaching impact of his foresight and administrative skills. Joseph's actions during these critical years showcased his exceptional leadership capabilities and his ability to foresee and mitigate the impending crisis, ensuring the survival and prosperity of many, namely the children of Israel mentioned in the Bible. If Joseph didn't save the grain, his entire family may not have survived the famine. Do you realize, friends, that this ancient wisdom remains relevant today? And you have the power to be the Joseph in your family, the Joseph to your neighbor, the Joseph to your community. The point is to be like Joseph by saving grain during the years of plenty to ensure your survival. If the time comes when others have no provisions because of a shutdown, an economic collapse, or even at worst, war. Through saving grain, you can ensure you're ready and prepared for the long haul if need be. History has taught us that during times of war, food can become scarce and even require the handout of daily rations, but we'll get into that a little later. So why did grains alone save the people of Egypt under Joseph's rule?
The answer to that question is simple. God knew what was right and perfect to preserve his people at that time. You see, wheat is not only a nutritional powerhouse, but also one of the most sustainable grains, capable of being stored indefinitely if kept dry and protected from pests. And just so we're clear here, grain covers a multitude of dried foods from wheat, corn, rice, amaranth, barley, bulgur, farro, quinoa, oats. This list goes on and on. Did you know that Norway has dedicated to spending $6 million a year stockpiling grain, citing pandemic, war, and climate change? In 2024, Norway started storing 15,000 tons of grain and do so yearly until 2028 or 2029, according to Norway's Minister for Agriculture and Food, Geir Pollestad, who said The aim is to always have a 3-month worth of consumption in storage. Toward the end of the decade, 82,500 tons of grain should be in stock. Paula Stad didn't elaborate on the type of grain to be stored. Paula Stad told the Norwegian news agency NTB, quote, that they must take into consideration the unthinkable happening. In a situation with extreme prices on the world market, it will still be possible to buy grain. But if we have done our job, we will not be so dependent on the highest bidder at auction. We can help keep prices down. That's not all. The Guardian recently posted an article titled, "Economists Suggest Storing Grain to Prepare for Next Global Emergency." The signs are here, guys. Let's wake up. We have to open our eyes and take advantage of the time we have right now. In contemporary society, wheat is ubiquitous, forming the basis of countless food items we consume every day, like bread, pasta, cakes, crackers, and more. However, the way we consume wheat has drastically changed over the past 2 centuries. Whole grains consist of 3 components: the germ, the bran, and the endosperm. Historically, people consumed grains in their whole, unrefined form. But with the advent of the roller mill around 1870, grains began to be highly refined, stripping away the nutrient-rich germ and bran, leaving only the starchy endosperm. They took away all the good and left us with the starch, many times selling the germ and bran as animal feed. Refined flour once was reserved for the become cheaper and more accessible. However, this came at a significant nutritional cost to
and guys, I want to put something out there as we continue. There's studies that white flour, and we all obviously have been eating this since our childhood. Let me tell you, when it comes to disease, that's all I'm gonna say. It's way bigger than what we think. It's not just like, oh, it's not that deep. Obviously, the Holy Spirit is saving us and guiding us. But as we learn, we need to get better. It's foods that can preserve your life. But when it comes to your children's nutrition, how they grow, this is that important. When it comes to protein, I know people have been promoting veganism and all these things, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, when you actually really understand how this stuff works, and you actually study veganism, and you study when it comes to protein, it's not readily available as the cattle guys. It's just no debate about it. Like, it's literally, it's just people feeling good for a great detox, and it may be helping them to a certain degree, but not forever. So I want to put that out there of how important it is. It's just not like, oh, grind your bread and that's it. Listen, no, you're going to have to go back and listen to this and really take down notes to see how refined things are not as good as you think. Trust me when I'm saying this. This is how important it is. It's people who have, hey, I have to be careful what I say. When it comes to eczema and all of that, eating this bread does a lot more than you think. When it comes to parasites, I'm just going to say this. Eating this bread does a lot more than you think. It does so many things, we couldn't even put it all in this quick documentary. When you start to take it upon yourselves to study this, it's not just like, oh, I can just throw some bran in my bread. They do that in Egypt too. We had fresh bread, daily bread every day. They just throw the bran on top. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not going to compare to what God naturally made when it comes to the fresh bread. You really need to pay attention to this part. Fresh is best. You need to pay attention to this, at least with the bread. You really need to pay attention to how important it is of it being fresh. That is very important and vital right now.
Removing the germ and bran not only extended the shelf life of flour, but also stripped it of essential nutrients. This would soon fill our shelves with products that are beautiful and tasty, but lacking the nutrition we need to stay healthy.
This shift has had dire consequences. Refined grains have been linked to higher levels of inflammatory markers, contributing to conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. Additionally, the rapid absorption of refined carbohydrates can lead to blood sugar spikes and subsequent crashes, fostering weight gain and metabolic disorders. Did you know that even during World War II, on April 6, 1942, the British government, like many other governments during the war, implemented strict food rationing to manage shortages and ensure that all citizens had access to necessities? The Ministry of Food introduced the National Loaf, a gray and gritty bread intended to be the cornerstone of their cuisine. Bakers were actually prohibited from producing any bread other than the National Loaf. This loaf was so nutritionally dense, it was dubbed Hitler's secret weapon as a measure to stave off starvation. But surprisingly enough, the health benefits of a diet based on this bread were quite amazing.
They said in history that this was one of Hitler's secret weapons. That's how important God's diet is. See, Esau will tell you all of these other things, right? But then on the side, they're eating these things and doing these things. Like I said, when I'm going to the Azure Standards truck, it's all Edomites. I seen one black old lady. It's all Edomites. They like, yeah, we know, we ain't gonna tell them. You see? You guys have to understand. They be telling us anything. Oh, you shouldn't fry with olive oil. Man, give me a break. I've visited all these islands, Italy, you understand, all these islands of the Mediterranean Sea that Paul went to, and guess what? They are using olive oil more than anything. Okay? So all this garbage, you can't fry with olive. Listen, you got dumb, smart Negroes who never travel, who don't know what they're talking about. They're telling you who's made genetically and molecularly differently than the rest of the nations to not do what your God told you to do? Are you kidding me? And you're going to listen to them over your God? Oh, don't eat wheat. Oh, don't drink milk. Once again, we had the lesson talks about God's diet. Eat the stuff in its proper form. And even if some things are hybridized to a certain degree, as long as they still have the benefits, you're good. But you can still get the ancient grains. You can still get the iron corn, the kamut. You can still get all of these things. Now, some of the grains are more expensive than others. We'll talk about that in a little recipe video after this, right? But you're still going to be able to get the basic grains that are still highly nutritious. It's not that the other ones are way more nutritious. They maybe offer a little different flavor. They may offer a little bit more percentage of nutrition, but you're still going to get all of the nutrients you need with this bread. Your children, let me tell you, my children making peanut butter and jelly grilled cheese sandwich. When they bring me that grilled cheese, they know daddy like them jalapenos in that thing. That fresh mill bread is different. It's not what you think. It's not like a hard piece of brick. We're going to show you a recipe that actually is just very similar, even though you can't compare it to the bread you're used to eating. But you have to ask yourself again, how is the bread on the shelf still lasting a long time? And why is there bread in the freezer? You have to ask yourself this. But none of the bread at the store can compare to you grinding it fresh yourself. You better take your time right now to get you a grinder or a mill. Get you one, and they're a little expensive. They're going to be $200-300. They will be, and you might find one for $150. But you want to get one that if the grid is down, you can grind it, and you want to get one that, hey, if you have either a solar battery or in that time you can use the one that does it while we have the electricity. But you want to have both if you can. If not, I would just invest in the manual one now. That way you have it now and if the grid goes down. If you can't afford the one, it's more very convenient to plug it in and be able to do it. But if the grid goes down or something happens, you need to have that one that you can just move with your hand manually to be able to grind that bread, okay? You can get it off Walmart.com, Amazon. It's time for you guys to start doing your research. I'll come on here and show you guys different things. I know some of you guys are texting me, asking me what can you do with the food stamps and stuff. This is your job to do your own research. Google, can you buy fruit trees with SNAP? What can you buy land with this? You guys have to start educating yourselves, okay? Come on, you got it. If something happened to us, you have to educate yourselves.
added vitamins along with the wholemeal flour, as opposed to the bleached white flour they had baked with before the war, gave the British the vigor to fight and win a world war. You see, guys, it has always been common knowledge before modern
I'll rewind
times.
it.
Health benefits of a diet based on this bread were quite amazing. The added vitamins along with the wholemeal flour, as opposed to the bleached white flour they
One
had
second,
baked
let
with
me bring it back.
1942, the British government, like many other governments during the war, implemented strict food rationing to manage shortages and ensure that all citizens had access to necessities. The Ministry of Food introduced the National Loaf, a gray and gritty bread intended to be the cornerstone of their cuisine. Bakers were actually prohibited from producing any bread other than the National Loaf. This loaf was so nutritionally dense, it was dubbed Hitler's secret weapon as a measure to stave off starvation. But surprisingly enough, the health benefits of a diet based on this bread were quite amazing. The added vitamins along with the wholemeal flour, as opposed to the bleached white flour they had baked with before the war, gave the British the vigor to fight and win a world war. You see,
you have to understand how powerful this is, where governments are getting involved. We just talked about the Norwegian government taking their time now before things get crazy in the years to come. And they're doing this because they know in the years to come, it's going to be all out war in the Middle East areas. And they know that grain is going to be very important. They're just copycatting what our forefather did. We're just telling you on a minute level as Israelites and those who follow the Most High God. And and even if you don't, you can still take this wisdom and hope you make it through. I don't know how you're going to make it through without Christ, but what I'm saying is, because a man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. But, hey, maybe you'll make it to where you got time to bump your head a little bit and learn. Who knows? But no one's promised tomorrow. But anyway, back to the subject. It's that important that governments have to get involved with the power of the sustainability of having grain. It's that important, guys. When it comes to trade, let me tell you, this is important. And yes, the video is private because I didn't release it yet. I wanted to release it right on G.O.C.C. media. It's private, okay? So if I need to make any edits with volume or anything, it's private right now.
Common knowledge before modern times that wholemeal wheat bread in its natural ground form is nutritious and can sustain a population through tough times with food, so much so that the British literally banned the sale and baking of white bread during tough times of war, as it simply would not sustain the people. Because whole grain bread was so important.
What? The white bread, like I'm trying to tell you guys, the white rice, the white pasta, is just sugars for you to burn off. It will keep you alive, but you will eventually get disease if you have to live off these things for years. That's just the reality of it. You must have vital nutrition to keep disease away. And this is just a very simple thing to do without you like trying to run all over the place trying to find out what to save. One thing about the bread, baking it, you will never get tired of it. It's not one of those boring foods like I'm tired of eating this white rice and beans all day. When any person smells bread every single day, it's something about this bread, this fresh milk stuff. It never gets old. I lived in Egypt almost eight or more years. Every morning I came out to go to work or whatever the case may be, and I smelled that bread, it never got old. I mean, when it's coming right out the oven, I don't care if you got no, because they dip it in beans and salsa. Because it smells fresh, you just want to eat that thing right out the oven. So it's one of those things that just will never get old. Even when life is dull, when you smell that bread coming out, it will smell better than most of anything you cooking. It's just something spiritual about what the Most High made for us. Just want to put that out there. All right.
Even the Bible reminds us in Deuteronomy 24:6, no man.
Not only that, you can make cakes, cookies. You can make pasta. You can make cereal. You can make granola from it and have your nutrition with everything. It can't get boring. Our sisters will whip it up for you and show you how to make it happen. So you guys don't even know what's being done right now. they do not have this information out there for black people. They don't have this out there for Israelites. They want you guys to be, hey, deficient in nutrition. That's why this is not widely available. This is only among Edomite and other communities. Because their bodies are not naturally strong as ours. So they're hiding all the little nutritious information to themselves. That's why I had to bring this. That's why I had to bring things like MSM to you guys. That's why I had to bring things like vitamin D3 plus K2. Where is it at? That's why I had to bring these things to you. I had a guy with an elite doctor who told me, he pulled me to the side like it was a secret. He was like, how you know about MSM? Our people are not supposed to know about some of these things, guys. Okay? They want you to, you got some bread? Get kids eating that peanut butter and jelly? Yeah, with the wrong bread. It's all sugar and 1,000 preservatives. But watch the power of the consistency of you eating this and watch how your children grow. Watch less cavities. Because when my children were eating that bread, when I'm taking them to the dentist, I'm noticing, I said, hold up. I'm taking them back. It's something why they have cavities. And I started doing some studies about the bread. This pushed me more to say, you know what? We're making bread already ourselves at home sometime, and we're adding, little nutrition in there, moringa powder, whatever. But it's something about this white flour that's just every time they go back to the dentist, it's a cavity popping off. And I said, you know what? They started eating this bread. Every time they go back, no cavities. And a lot of you think it's just from sugar. You're wrong. A lot of you think it's just from sugar. That's totally wrong. You can get you some organic cane sugar. If you're working out, that sugar is not going to hurt you. Well, if you eat too much sugar, you'll have candida. That's because you are not actually eating the proper probiotics and bacteria. Your gut is not in line. If you're working out, your body's going to burn off certain sugars. You just need to make sure that you're getting 90 to 95% of your diet with the right things inside of it. Okay? You got people who want to do no sugar diets. That's on them. There's nothing bad about that. But God never said sugar was bad. In the Bible, it says that it was the sugar cane. I showed you guys that in a lesson. It was called something different, but it's sugar cane all through the Bible. It's when you over process it to white sugar, it becomes an issue. Or when you are lacking certain nutrients where you're only eating too much starches, too much carbs. So this bread is going to help solve a lot of problems. Just by adding this bread to your diet, guess what? You might say, hey, I'm making some spaghetti tonight. Now you don't have to have as much pasta. Because the bread is going to get you full. Okay? And it has nutrition. Because the pasta don't really have nutrition. It's just sugar. You have some nutrition in the meat, but the bread is going to make it complete. Then you got you a little salad, right? So that's the issue. It's really going to help to add a lot to your meals to where you're like, well, isn't it going to be expensive, Elder? It's not going to be expensive. You can pull back on some of the other stuff now because them kids are going to get full. When they taste the density in this bread, one, is delicious. And two, hey, let me tell you. And if you learn how to do it with the sourdough way, oh boy. Let's continue.
Take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge. This verse highlights
how important was it, like I told you a few weeks back, that God would not allow us to, the Most High would not allow us to actually borrow a man's millstone. That was in the law. You can't take a man's millstone. That's why I'm telling you guys, you better get your own millstone. As hard as it is to actually work to grind bread, guys, you can't just let the homie borrow your millstone. It don't work like that. Get your own millstone, or you're going to be with a mortar and pestle trying to get some weed popping off. That's rough. I'm going to tell you right now, that is rough. So get your own not mortar and pestle, your own millstone. They have them modern day because it takes some work to grind this flour down. And the good thing about them, they grind it down to fine flour, which the Most High loves. You don't have to sift and do all of that. Keep all of that good stuff in there. Okay? Any of you ever tried to grind some of this bread in a blender or a coffee grinder? It ain't going to do the same as these meals, guys. I'm going to tell you right now. So make sure you invest in one. All right? Let's continue.
In daily life. Taking a millstone as collateral for a debt was prohibited because it was essential for grinding grain to make bread, a basic food staple. The millstone was crucial for survival, and taking it would deprive a person of their means to prepare food. We have to open our eyes to the importance of this. No matter if you are in an apartment, have a big house, have small children, no children, young or old, you should have started storing grain yesterday.
When you mill your wheat at home, you're reclaiming those lost nutrients. Freshly milled wheat retains 100% of its nutrients, including B vitamins, vitamin E, iron, magnesium, and fiber. However, once wheat is milled into flour, it starts to lose its nutritional value rapidly due to oxidation. Within just 24 hours, up to 40% of the nutrients in flour can be lost. After 72 hours, up to 90% of the nutrients are gone. This means that the commercial flours you find in stores often have little to no nutrients left, apart from the enriched vitamins added back in. In the past, local mills provided freshly milled flour to communities, ensuring a steady supply of nutritious bread. However, the rise of industrial milling and the widespread availability of white bread led to nutritional deficiencies and related health problems. Diseases like pellagra and beriberi, caused by deficiencies in niacin and thiamine respectively, became prevalent. Pellagra is a condition caused by a severe deficiency of niacin, vitamin B3. It affects the whole body and can eventually lead to death. Primary pellagra is caused by a lack of niacin in your diet. Beriberi is a condition in which the body doesn't have enough vitamin B1, also called thiamine. People with this condition can experience difficulty walking, loss of feeling in their hands and feet, loss of muscle function and mental confusion, and even poor memory. While the millers agreeing to enrich the refined flour with vitamins helped, it did not seem to completely address the root of the problem. Bread used to be a primary source of vitamin B1. This nutrient is significantly reduced in roller-mill bleached flour. After they remove the bran and germ, which, as I mentioned before, are now sold as animal feed, it seemed to result in healthy animals but sickly humans. This is a serious matter that should be taught to everyone. Milling your own wheat allows you to take your health back into your hands.
By saving and milling your own wheat, you're ensuring food security and nutritional health. Wheat can be used in numerous ways beyond bread as porridge, popped like popcorn, boiled like rice, or even sprouted for wheatgrass juice. Wheatgrass, the young grass of the wheat plant, is a potent health food, rich in chlorophyll, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. It can help prevent diseases, reduce oxidative stress, and boost metabolism. Saving your grains and milling your own wheat at home not only ensures you're getting all the vital nutrients you need, but also promotes a sustainable and self-sufficient lifestyle. Self-sustained for now and the future. Freshly milled flour enhances the flavor and nutritional value of your baked goods, providing a rich source of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, especially when you add ingredients such as sourdough yeast for leavening. Sourdough has been used since ancient times, with evidence suggesting it was practiced by the Egyptians around 1500 BC. Sourdough fermentation relies on a symbiotic culture of lactic acid bacteria and wild yeast. This process not only causes...
Now you know, they like to give a lot of stuff to the Egyptians, but I'm going to keep it real with you. When they talk about those Egyptians, they talk about when we were in Egypt. I'm going to have to tell you the truth. And we done many classes to prove that. I don't want to take nothing from the Egyptians, but I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know how that country is being ran. It can be ran with 5 of us. So I'm just keeping it real with you. That's why, once again, even the Pharaoh in that time told Joseph that he could take care of the rest of Egypt. Hey, and that's why Abraham came and taught them arithmetic and all things like that when you read in the book of Josephus. So I'm sorry, all of you philosophers out there, you Egyptologists, that information is to the Hebrews. Anything great in Egypt, martial arts and all of that, it came to us. It's in our records. I just had to put that out there.
Bread to rise, but also enhances its nutritional value and digestibility. The fermentation process creates a chewy crumb and a crispy crust, providing a superior texture that many find more satisfying. And because you grow it literally from your own fresh milled flour and the local wild yeast in the air, you have an endless supply of yeast, always available to make your life-sustaining bread. Not to mention, the fermentation process can introduce beneficial probiotics into the bread.
Now look at our God. Look at his perfection. Look at his perfection. We're almost done with that. Look at his perfection. People, they give you Clorox for the bacteria. You don't notice how you clean a cabinet with Clorox? The bacteria comes back harder. So that's why, I choose to make probiotic cleaners, because when you clean with a probiotic cleaner, it continues to work, because it's no different than what they're copying the Most High with their nanobots. It continues to work. We are made up of more of these little bugs, the same thing from the soil as the Most High brought Adam from, than actual human cells. Did you know that? So if we're not actually, right, trying to take in more beneficial bacteria from sauerkraut, from, fermented pickles, fermented carrot, whatever, kefir. These things may not be the most tasty to some of us, but these things are necessary. People eat tzatziki, which is yogurt with you understand, with cucumbers and dill and things like that. We need to start eating these things with every meal to help our gut, guys. And when you are out, then you have also, when you're out, because you want to keep these things with you. Guess what? When you're out, you got our help starts in the gut. You have our probiotic 40. When I'm out at the gym and I'm going to eat a bite at the restaurant, I may not have sauerkraut with me. And I don't want their sauerkraut, because guess what? It's going to be some sauerkraut that's not actually living. So I'm going to have my probiotic 40 with me. And I might got to have my sea salt and my garlic powder, because let me tell you, sometimes you go to some of these restaurants, they don't got no flavor on that food. So you have these things with you already. Have your little garlic powder. If you need your hot sauce, your own ketchup, have your little packs of things that you may need with you. So when you go in a restaurant, you got to go to the car. Man, these people ain't putting enough salt on this food. I'm going to get my little sea salt out, because some restaurants still don't have sea salt in 2024. I'm like, what's going on with y'all? How y'all still have iodized salt in this thing? You call it an organic restaurant. So, right? So keep all of these things with you guys, okay? And make sure, once again, that when you are doing the sourdough, it's best to start it from the actual fresh milk. You can start it from the white flour, but it's better to go ahead and get the active, sourdough. Now you can buy sourdough online too. You can buy sourdough online that's 100 years old. You can. Okay, and you're gonna get some cultures from over there, but sometimes it's good to have some of the bacteria in your area. No different than honey when it comes to the allergens in the environment. Okay.
By milling your own wheat and baking your own bread, you're making a significant step towards better health. Fresh whole grain bread can provide the nutrition your body craves, improving digestion, energy levels, and overall well-being. So what are you waiting for? Get up and order your grains today.
So there you have it. Saving grain and milling your own wheat is not just about preparing for uncertain times, but about reclaiming your health and well-being. Let's return to the wisdom of the past and embrace the power of whole grains. The Bible teaches us in Proverbs 6:6-8, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest." This proverb uses the example of ants to teach the importance of preparation and diligence, storing food in times of abundance for future needs. Are we not greater than ants? So, let's be proactive like the ant, put action to our words, and get to work today. Thank you for joining us on this information video. We hope it enlightens you and makes you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more.
Let me, I was muted there. Let me go ahead and go to the little recipe so we can get out of here because I know it's late. So yeah, I have it on private right now. If I need to edit anything when it comes to volume or anything, I had to just get it up there for you guys today. So you understand. I had to just get it up there for you guys. Let me go ahead and let me get the other video really quick for you guys. So some of the beginners who was not bread makers, because I know we already have a lot of bread makers in our church. I see some of them online, man. They do a great job. So this is just a little quick basic. And the reason this is important is because a lot of people have tried the wheat thing before. They like, I just can't get it to stay together, because the recipes and things like that have actually been hidden from our people. Them giving you the education on what mills to get to grind it down have been hidden from our people. So we are actually bringing this to you today. Does sourdough come in non-dairy? Well, I am not educated on the sourdough. My wife makes all the yeast and things like that. I don't remember everything about it, but just look it up. Just look. It's time. I'm bringing this out for you guys to educate yourself to you understand, actually make it happen. But I don't think the sourdough has dairy in it though. Okay. But anyway, it's nothing wrong with dairy if you get the proper dairy. If you can't drink, I'm gonna be honest with you. You missing out if you're not dealing with dairy. I know people talk about mucus and all of this. I don't give a dang on what book you write. That's God's diet. No man can tell you better than God himself. The angels was drinking milk. They was drinking the right milk. If you go to the store and get you A2 milk, even if it's okay. And yeah, my wife said, she just reminded me because my mind all over the place. It's just fermented flour and water for the sourdough. But even if you didn't get the raw A2 milk, I've already put people on A2 milk and their stomachs are already doing better. So I'm going to tell you something right now. You are missing out if you're not dealing with dairy. Don't let any person out there, I don't care what they're going on with their own body. They may need that for their body to not eat dairy. But when you drink and you eat the things that God said, you're going to fare well. Butter, even the butter that's pasteurized. If you see people who's on the carnivore diet, they are some of the most healthiest people. And I'm not telling you to go eat a carnivore diet, but they're eating half a stick of butter with their steak. You need the fat. Nothing wrong with butter. If you can get a better butter that's fermented and all that, cool. But the regular butter is just fine. I'm going to keep it real with you. You need those healthy fats. Olive oil, coconut oil. You need that. You need cholesterol or you die. So how you think you get icing on the cake? Butter. Okay? Butter and milk. And if you're drinking almond milk and almond milk is not milk. Stop lying to people, telling people almond milk will never be milk. It's water. That's what it is. It's water and almonds. That's the reality. And if you're drinking the one from the store, it's already been proven that they got a lot of garbage in it. So it's only 1 or 2 brands that's actually good. And I'm gonna tell you, this is 144% fact. So anybody who's telling you to do outside of what the Bible says, they don't know what they're talking about and they're totally wrong. The Bible never said don't drink milk. So any health expert out there who's telling you that is garbage. And that don't mean I don't love them. That don't mean they're not good people. But God will be perfect in all his ways. He don't need man to come in and tell him something different. You just need to learn how to get his stuff in its proper form. Go and buy you a cow. Invest in a cow. Get out there and milk it. And see the benefits of his perfection. Okay? And I'm not going in on you, but I have to put that out there for people who's coming into the knowledge of the truth. And, everyone becomes an expert. I'm giving you a video, and I'm not claiming to be an expert at it. But we've been doing it for, almost 2 years now. And I'm not claiming to be a YouTube expert like a lot of these people are, but for some reason our people comes in and all of a sudden they're experts. We got to stop that, man. Like, you need to be an expert at something, you need to be have done it for at least 10 years. I'm sorry. All right, so dairy is good for you. Get it in its proper form. The best one is A2. And if you want to get it even better than that, go and get it raw. You're going to have mucus anyway if you don't drink milk. Mucus is actually a part of it's a defense mechanism. Now, when it gets too much mucus, that's when it becomes demonic. You're doing something wrong. Now you're overeating something. You're being a glutton in sugar, or you're drinking the wrong type of milk. But if people couldn't afford it and they have to get the normal milk, you can still make yogurt out of the normal milk that's not having hormones in it, and you're going to be better off than a person drinking the milk with glue in it. I can tell you that. All right? We're not going to get everything perfect. All right? But it's nothing wrong with these things. You just try to get it in its proper form, okay? And everyone has to have their chance to transition.
Hey guys, welcome to Lion's Homestead. Today we're going to be making fresh meal bread packed with
fair use for educational purposes only. Fair use for educational purposes only and religious purposes, because in our prayer we talk about daily bread. Give us this day our daily bread, like a daily vitamin. Something that's going to sustain man even if he's poor, even if he could not afford, the special cut meats. He has the daily bread that will be baked in society, or he can bake himself to actually sustain himself. Don't forget, before we had a king, before we begged for a king, right? In the book of Samuel, everyone was their own homesteaders. But we begged for a king, and the Most High told us, the king is going to take all of you to become servants. He's going to make you pay taxes. You're going to have to do all of these things. But before that, we were doing all of these things. We were free men, just operating, and the priests were over us, who dealt directly with the Most High, right? So it's okay for us to learn how to be individuals, to learn this, because you may not be able to get in contact with people in a time of trouble. You're going to need to learn some of these things on your own.
And nutrients to sustain your entire family. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about your choices of wheat. We have soft white wheat that can be used for baking cakes, pastries, pies, and lots of other delicious desserts. This grain is light and it gives you a flour that's nice and fluffy. Right here we have hard white wheat. Hard white wheat is what we use for making your yeast breads. That's going to be your sandwich breads, it's going to be your dinner rolls, and a lot of savory breads that require proofing or rising. You can also use hard red wheat, which is very similar to this. I find hard white wheat to be a little bit fluffier than red. This one right here is your kamut grain. You can see the grain is very, very nice. Kamut is so interesting. It's one of the ancient grains, and when you bake with it or add it to your recipes, it makes the bread really soft. So you have to be careful with your ratios, that when you add it to your bread, you don't add too much, because it will give you a very soft dough, sometimes a little too soft if you add in a little too much. This one right here is spelt. I love this one. This one has a beautiful nutty flavor when you add it to the bread. You can use spelt to make all spelt breads, or sometimes you can take a little bit of spelt and mix it in with your hard red or hard white to get a wonderful product. Overall, these are some of the basic wheat berries to get you started. There are more available than this, but these are some of the basics that you would want to get and keep on hand to get your cakes, your pies, your pastries, your breads, your hamburger buns, and all of the things that you and your family need. Milling your own grains can transform your health for the better. We'll do some more in-depth videos on the health benefits of fresh milled bread really soon, so stay tuned for that. So when you get your olive oil, you want to make sure it's a good olive oil. We like this one from H-E-B because it's non-GMO verified. which means it has 0 GMO ingredients inside of it. And also, if you check here on the side, you'll see it's imported from only one place. But when you purchase olive oil, you want to make sure that it's from one place and not many different places. Lots of times when you see on there that it's from many different locations, it's cut with other oils like canola oil or soybean oil, and it wouldn't be considered truly an olive oil. So these are the things you want to look for. This brand.
This is very important. You wonder why demons still come into your house? There's no grace on that. Let me tell you, they didn't cut the olive oil like a dope game. You've been anointing that thing with soybean oil, with vegetable oil. So I'm just joking with y'all, but I know the Most High had grace on y'all because they've been doing everything to defeat our people. Boy, they're tainting everything that the Most High told us was good. And when it says, and he saw that it was good, they wanted to see that it's evil now. So make sure listen. This information is priceless, especially in a time of trouble. The devil does not want you to have a certain connection with your God and your spirit. These people calling it, what they call this thing, a third eye, or you know what I mean? Your what's the other thing they call this thing up here? My mind ain't even focused on that garbage. Your pineal gland. No, it's your spirit. They don't want it to be actually, you understand, our spirit to actually be healthy. You need to be drinking clean water because the brain, is dealing with fats. The brain is dealing with water. So when you hear people don't eat fats, why would you not eat fats if the brain is needing fat? If the brain is needing clean water? You understand what I'm saying? You can't think clearly if you don't have your electrolytes. This olive oil is so powerful. Why the Most High use it? Because it reaches the blood-brain barrier, like many of the things the Most High does. That's very important, guys. That's how powerful olive oil is. I take it every day with a little orange juice because it's going to lubricate your joints and all that. It's going to give you omegas. You don't want to overdo it because you'll feel nauseated. Don't overdo it. But I take olive oil and virgin coconut oil every day. And then I take my omega-3 gummies to make sure these joints are very good. Okay, because you can't overeat fish. So you're going to have to get, a little flax oil, a little olive oil, or coconut oil. You got to balance all these things out. You don't want to overdo anything because nowadays you eat too much fish, you get mercury. So you just got to balance everything. And there's more than enough things out there to do it. But make sure you get the quality olive oil. There's so much olive oil in there, you will be surprised. You will be totally surprised. So you want to get the one that actually it comes from one country. All right? It's tuna and sardines. Yes, it's a clean meat. Duck is not clean. Someone's emailing me about this duck thing, wanting an answer, and they want to debate and all that, I guess. Duck is not clean. So I know they trying to say the translation is this and that. It's a water hen. Listen, duck is not clean. I'm sorry to let you know. If Elder Rawchaa comes out or one of the elders come out and say it's clean, but according to scriptures, duck is not clean. It's no different than the geese that's running around here. Okay? So I'm just saying. Some of these questions I just ignore because it's like, come on now. It's like we're trying to find every little thing to follow the law. I mean, listen, that's old news. No offense, but I'm just telling you the truth. I just had to answer that because I'm not going to sit here and type a whole long email on it. No offense.
I really, really like. It has a good flavor, it's non-GMO, and we feel like we can trust it. And it has this little barcode on the side that says scan to trace my journey. So when you scan the barcode, you can see where it's from the farm to packaging all the way to you. So this is the bread meal that I decided to get. It's called a Nutri-Mill. A Nutri-Mill is very, very cool. It can grind all of those wheat berries that we talked about before. And it will give you either a coarse flour or a fine flour. If you set the motor to this setting over here, then it will give you a more fine flour. And when you do the feed rate on the lower end as well, it allows the flour to go in a little bit slower and come out a lot finer. You just put the wheat berries here in the top portion of the Nutri-Mill and put the top on, put your settings, give it a go, you're ready. Okay, so right here we're going to be preparing our yeast. We're going to take 3.5 cups of warm water, not hot water because we don't want to kill our yeast, but warm water. And we're going to add 2¼ tablespoons of yeast to it and let it hang out for about 15 minutes.
Did you see that? Did you see that? They've been hiding this information on where to get these machines. Go to Amazon, go to Google and get you fresh mill grain grinders. I'm telling you guys, it's an investment, but this investment is investing in your health. You rather spend, right, 150 to 300 bucks on this instead of spending 150 to 300,000 on a medical bill that you would go into debt with by eating God's daily bread. You seen that thing? Let me tell you, don't sift that thing. You can sift it and add the little bran back on top, but why? It's already perfect.
Once that's done, we're going to add 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil. To that, we're going to add 1/2 cup of honey. Just putting everything here together. After that, we're going to add 3¼ teaspoons of salt to make sure we give it a little flavor. And now we're going to start incorporating our wheat little by little. We're going to end up adding close to 9 cups of the hard white wheat flour. But we're going to just put in a couple cups at a time. So you want to just put in a little bit at a time and let your bread mixer do its thing and incorporate all of the ingredients. So you see I'm kind of taking it slow here, and I stopped the mixer, and we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more flour.
And a lot of you guys who they told you, oh, you know, I need to stop eating bread. You know why they told you need to stop eating bread? Because you eating the wrong bread. Because you eating that garbage, right? Let me tell you, all we did was eat bread in the Middle East. When you eating the right bread, you're getting the right nutrition. You got the healthy fats, the butter inside of here. You have the olive oil inside of there. And guess what? You're getting healthy fats, healthy nutrition. Let me tell you, which has, it's only lacking 3 or 4 nutrients. And all you got to do is add a little moringa pot in that thing. Add you some dandelion root, something. It's many things you can add, but you're going to have to learn how to feel it. So if it's going to take away from the rising of your dough or not, so you're going to have to learn these things. We'll be coming on with more videos to show you, hey, you know, what this can do, what not to do, right? Just to educate you guys. But I want you to get a hand at this because it's simplified for you. We didn't want to come on here and make things all technical. It's very simplified. Even if you don't have a bread mixer, you can roll that thing with the hands and work it with the flick of that wrist. Look at the flick of that wrist. You can get the flick of that wrist working. But if you're a mom with children, this is just going to be way more convenient for you. Go ahead and invest in a mixer on Amazon or Walmart, okay? Or on Temu. Do what you got to do with Temu. It is what it is. Get what you got to get. You can get 100% cotton out Temu and everything. I've seen the same stuff on Amazon, on Temu, and Amazon's charging way more. So some of you guys got to realize, just because it don't come tomorrow, you don't got to give all your money to these companies.
Don't want it to work too hard, and we don't want it to get clumpy too fast. So we want to get a good stretchy dough. So that's why we're just adding a little bit at a time. So now we're going to go ahead and give it another whirl. And as you can see, the dough is going to start coming together and incorporating well. You'll start to see everything start to form like crumbs, and then after crumbs, you'll actually start to see it looking a little bit more like a dough. So again, we're stopping it and we're giving it a little bit more of the flour. I like to go slower. I'm a novice bread maker, so I'm very new to it, and I've just found that when you go slow, it works better. Every time I try to go fast, I mess up the bread. So this is just something that I've learned. I try to take my time. It's better to move a little bit slower to make sure you get a good consistency with your bread instead of going.
Isn't it good to hear somebody be honest and say that? So when you get on there as a beginner, you don't think you just can't do it and you give up. You got these YouTubers getting on there. You got to get everything perfect and everything right. When you get that bread, I don't care if you didn't know how to make bread. You throw that thing together, you throw it in there, especially with these things like the artisan bread. It's going to still work out for you to make bread for your family. Don't get nervous. Just keep working at it. You know, everyone on YouTube today, everything has to be perfect. Esau's trying to make everything perfect. I go watch videos on how to do certain things. You got to do this and do that. Watch me jake it. Watch me jake it till I make it. They done gave me all these instructions and I jaked it. And let me tell you, I was like, Esau done put me through all of this stuff just so they can seem knowledgeable or know something better than the next person. And you didn't put me through all this extra work. And when I jaked it till I make it with the wisdom of the Most High, I didn't have to do all that garbage. They always just want to try to seem smarter than somebody. That's your one-uppers. Don't worry about your one-uppers on this bread video. You do the best you can making the bread for your family. And I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes imperfections is God's perfections. He calls us perfect after baptism. We know we wasn't nowhere near perfect. So when you start doing a sourdough and you notice that some of your bread does not always come out the same height every time, it happens with sourdough. That's the ancient way of yeast. You couldn't depend on the new yeast. Is it wrong to use the yeast at the store? No. Use the yeast at the store. You're going to have the same nutrition in the bread. You just get a different type of culture when you use sourdough. And if you're not good at the sourdough starter yet, they sell sourdough packs at the store too. So I don't want anybody to feel ashamed or you can't do anything. If you haven't been doing something for 10 years or more, you ain't no expert at it. I'm sorry. It's just the reality of it. So I will call myself a novice if I've been doing it for 5 years too. Or maybe intermediate. It's okay. All right.
So you see right here, it's coming together a little bit more like a dough. So we're gonna go ahead and put a wet tea towel over our mixer, let it hang out for 15 minutes so that those grains start to soak up that liquid. And then we're gonna go ahead and start it up again after 15 minutes. Now you can see it actually looks like a dough. So our bread mixer got in there and kneaded that dough for us. We didn't have to do it on the countertop. I've done it that way and it's all right. But when you got a big family, this is just really the way to go. So right here, I'm taking the dough, I'm taking a piece of it, rolling it out a little bit, and we're just gonna see what stretch we have. We're looking for something called a window pane. And they call it a window pane because you really wanna stretch the bread to where it's almost translucent. That's when you know that the gluten, it has formed enough to give you a good bread. So we're ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and take our dough out of the mixer. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil to my granite countertop just to help me so I don't have a sticky mess. Our dough is a little tacky, but it's not too sticky. So it's easy to work with. So we're gonna go ahead and take that out. And we're gonna go ahead and start flattening it out so we can form our loaves. Now this particular recipe can give you 3 small loaves, but I have 1 long Pullman's tin loaf, so I'm gonna use that, and then I'm gonna use a smaller bread loaf. So I'll get 2 loaves of bread, a large one and a small one. So right here, I'm just stretching the dough out, and we're gonna just eyeball it, cut it. You know, I wanna get enough for my long Pullman's tin loaf and enough for my smaller loaf. So I'm just gonna sit that to the side for the smaller loaf. And again, like I told you, I'm new to bread making. I just love it. And I'm really doing this video because I want to encourage women like me that are new to this to say, hey, look guys, you don't have to do it perfect. It doesn't have to look Instagram ready to make bread, right? But when you do this for your family, it is going to be awesome. So be forgiving of yourself and just continue to try, do your best, and do your research, watch other videos, and try to get good. But as you see here, I'm not doing it perfect, but my loaf is gonna come out great. So I'm just folding it over. I'm rolling it up here on the seams of the bread and on the ends, so that I can form a little loaf. Now, some people do this a little bit better. You get better with practice. But I've learned that as long as you roll it out, you pinch those seams, and you get it in the pan, and it rises, you're gonna get a good bread. And for added nutrition, my family likes to add moringa powder. I did include it in this recipe because it might not be for everyone, but moringa powder is very powerful, and it adds a lot of nutrition to the bread. You can give it a try. It's not suggested for pregnant people, but if you're not a pregnant person, you can definitely add it to this bread, and it will give.
Yeah, you have to understand something, that this bread pretty much has all the nutrients except for like 3 or 4. So I think it's I forget, it's like a one of the vitamin B's. I can't remember them all, right? You could just look it up, but it might have said it on here and I missed it. But we add the moringa powder because it has everything else that the bread is missing. Okay, and even if you didn't add it, what you get in your meat, what you get in your other foods, you're going to eat that in your diet anyway. So you don't have to add anything. It's just up to you. You can add a little flax on top, sunflower, whatever you guys want to do, okay?
A great flavor and added nutrition. We're going to go ahead and shape our smaller dough, and we're going to use the rolling pin to roll it out and get it nice and flat, so we can start rolling it. You're rolling it into a little log, and you're just trying to take the air out and cup the corners so that you can make a dough shape. Basically, you're trying to make it whatever shape you give it is the shape that it's going to have. That's why I like to pinch those little seams. Some people don't pinch the seams. Some people are really good with kind of rolling it on the surface to get a good dough, a good shape. But for me, I just, I pinch it, roll it. If it looks close enough, we're gonna roll with it. So this is where, we just give it a good roll and put it into our container, into our pan. I promise you, your house is gonna smell amazing. It's something about this fresh milled bread that when it fills the house with this beautiful aroma and scent, it's just like very sensory based. It makes everyone feel happy. It gives you a warm feeling, and everyone is excited for the bread. So here we have all our bread ready to go. We're gonna cover it with a warm tea towel and let it rise. You wanna let it rise till it's about double in size. And we're just gonna test to see if it's done. I'm gonna give it a little poke.
Now you guys can get fancy. They have bread provers, little bread proving baskets where you can make your little design with your artisan bread. A lot of the sisters who's already educated and been making bread for many years, they kind of already know what I'm talking about. You can get your designs right. You can buy your hot dog little trays. You can buy your hamburger bun trays. You never have to buy bread from the store again, guys. Trust me. You're going to be like the ancient times. Are we making hamburgers tonight? Let's make the bread. Fresh meal hamburger bread. Let me tell you right now. let me tell you, fresh milled hot dog buns. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, there you go.
Too much, just a little poke, and you see it didn't bounce back. If it doesn't bounce back, it's good to say it's ready to go in the oven. If it bounced back, we'd want to cover it with our little tea towel and let it go a little further. And voila, here you are. It baked for 35 minutes at 350 degrees in the oven, and it turned out marvelous. Look at that beautiful top, beautiful brown top. Your kids are gonna love it. Your husband is gonna love it, and it's gonna be so healthy, way healthier than white flour.
And it's so serious what she said. It's not just, let me tell you something. Those who have not eaten it yet or don't know, they don't know. This is not just something that's just being said. When you go back and watch the information, you're going to realize how important it is when it comes to children progressing as they age and all that. Like, listen, when a child lacks nutrition, it's no different than a plant or a tree. It does not grow successfully. It lacks a lot of things. Trust me when I say that. That's why a lot of people who's, you can do what you want to do. People who puts their children on veganism and all that. Let me tell you, when you actually study some of the videos that I've done and shown about this, I've done the class already on this. When you actually study this, you're taking away from them. You're taking away from them. We talked about autism when it comes to eating red meat and all that. Esau is telling you to put away all of the things, and they're eating it. Not only are they eating it raw. Now, we can't eat nothing raw, and you bet not, because that's against the law. But not only they eating it raw. So if it wasn't good for them, why they eating it? Right? But you need also probiotics, and you need this type of fiber, because you have to get these parasites under control. So the diet of the Most High, the way he made the wine, the fermented things, these things are important to keep the bugs and parasites at bay. You're never going to get rid of every single one of them, but if you eat the Most High's diet, everything's going to work out just fine. Now, a lot of people who've made wheat bread have never seen it come out soft like the bread you get at the stores. But there's so many tips and tricks that you can use. Use different grains, mix different grains and make your bread soft. Some people add sunflower lecithin, which is totally healthy and there's nothing wrong with it. We're not talking about soy lecithin. It's all type of tricks that different ancient people uses to make their bread soft, right? But this is just perfect for my personal family, and we don't complain about it. We keep it very simple, very basic. When I smell that bread, I was kind of mad I had to do this video today without having no bread in front of me. I'm not going to lie, I would have been eating it right in front of y'all.
So we're just gonna go ahead and dump these out. We're gonna dump it out while it's still hot, because we don't want it to stay in the pan, because we don't want the condensation from the pan to make our bread wet.
And see, some people who was out there, oh, she ain't do that right. And I know people ain't saying that, but some probably gonna be saying that about you if you make your first bread video and try to be inspired. Oh, she didn't fold it and put it up right. Look how perfect it still came out. So don't worry about any of that of being perfect. Get your grind on. Start gripping your grain. See, that's what we do down here in the South. We grip grain, but now you can grip grain with the bread. See, you can grip that grain in your hand and get your hands on it. See what I'm talking about? Let's go.
So we're just gonna turn it over, and we're just gonna put it on a drying rack so that it can dry. And when it cools down, we can give it a little slice. You wanna try not to be too anxious to cut it too soon. Let it cool off. You'll get a better sliced bread. And right here, we're just slicing it up. Look at how beautiful that bread is. I mean, absolutely amazing. You are going to be so astonished and proud of yourself when you see how wonderful your...
Look at the Most High's bread. You thought grinding wheat yourself that you couldn't get it like the stores? There you go. Now ask yourself, why are they using all of these preservatives? Yeah, because they want it to last forever. But guess what? That's hurting us. So in a time of trouble, saving this, and this is all you have, you don't have no meat, nothing like that. You got protein in this stuff and all that. See? It will sustain you longer than just some white pasta or some white rice. That's good too. But don't you know you can make pasta out of your own flour, fresh milled? Come on now. So we, hey.
Homemade bread will come out. Look right here. I'm squishing it. I'm really squishing it, guys. and it's still holding its shape.
Look at that. Look at that. Don't let nobody tell you you can't do it yourself and grind a wheat. Because, I mean, I used to try years ago, grind it in the coffee grinder. It still wasn't coming out. It was breaking apart. There you go. All right. So we're going to be coming out with more recipes with artisan bread, because you cannot use the same recipe with white flour as you use with fresh mill flour. You can't compare the two. You can't. It's just like our calendar, 364 days compared to the 365 days. You can't compare them. That's just what it is. So you have to have different recipes. Make sure you're looking at recipes, it's for fresh milled.
So that's a good thing. It's gonna make great peanut butter and jelly. It's gonna make great toast. You can put this with as a side with your dishes. And I had to give it a little try. And hey guys, it's delicious. You're gonna love this.
And she didn't sift it. She didn't sift it, and it still looks amazing. You don't have to sift it. Huh? They even be sifting the white flour. You don't have to sift anything with the Most High. Why would you want to throw away all that goodness in there? Huh?
Hope you guys give it a try. Try to mill your own wheat. Try to avoid the white flour. And you're going to see it's absolutely delicious, and you'll never go back. So be sure to stay tuned for more videos about fresh milled bread and all the health benefits that you and your family can enjoy. Don't forget to like.
So I'm going to unprivate it when I work on some of the volume and different things. I just had to put it up there fresh because I've been very busy. I couldn't. Oh boy, I didn't want to not come on tonight. I was like, man, it's already late. Oh my goodness, we've been so busy. We got a lot on our plate. So and you know, we got hit, you know, by the hurricane. My poor greenhouse, I got to remake my greenhouse, one of them at least. The one with the cattle panel was good, but the PVC one, it was still hit from the hailstorm. I hadn't put it back together yet. I've been swamped with work. So we're gonna get it all together, okay? But I'm not worrying about that. I have my stuff stored, and I'm going to continue to add to it. So this is something for you guys to think about as families. If you have a garage, okay, where can I get me a 50-gallon, you know, container or whatever? Making sure it's food grade, obviously, to make sure it's sealed from the mice and things like that. All right, keeping diatomaceous earth or some bay leaves or something for the weevils. Long as it stays dry, you can keep you some 5-gallon buckets in the house or your little glass jars. And then whenever you need to go get it, you go back into your garage or whatever your storage area, if you got shipping containers, whatever. But it needs to stay, I mean, the shipping container, it can stay in there, even in there, believe it or not. As long as it stays dry, it'll be fine. But you need to have some type of vent on it. You can do these things and have sustainable nutrition for your family. Something that not only makes bread, but it makes pasta. Granola, like I said, you guys know what you can do with flour. I mean, have you ever fried some chicken with fresh milled flour? My daughters, they fry that chicken, and the first time they fried that chicken, that finger licking chicken, with the fresh milled flour, I said, Lord have mercy, this tastes totally different. So I don't know what we was doing in the wilderness, but we had all of this stuff in the wilderness, and it was right like a kite in the wind blowing to the east. You know what I'm talking about? It was yes indeed. Yes indeed. But listen, guys, that's all I have for you tonight. I'm not going to actually take any more calls. It's late. I have to get up, and I have a lot of, you know, work to do, and I got to get in that gym, right? Early in the morning, stay on my discipline. I can't keep you guys up any longer. Make sure you come back to G.O.C.C. Media for more of this, because I'm going to probably bring an artisan bread recipe. Okay, I'm going to make sure that when I upload this video from being private, that I actually put the recipe there. It probably already had the recipe. I don't know if we put the recipe on there. Let me see here. Yeah, let me show that again. Yeah, there we go. I wanted to show that really quick again. Okay, 6 cups of hard wheat berries, 3.5 cups of warm water, 2 1/4 tablespoons of yeast. Unless you're using your sourdough, we're going to have to show you a sourdough version of this. So I'll be coming back on periodically to show you just different bread videos and Hey, you sisters get out there and get good and make your husband come in the house and he be like, oh, Lord, I know you got this other stuff popping up, but what you got with that? This good old bread for him and his children. 3 1/4 teaspoons of salt. When you sisters start eating this, you're going to notice a difference in your digestion. You're going to notice a difference in your skin because everything in that wheat is, whatever you need is in there. Okay, so just listen to what I'm saying. Continue to do what you guys are doing. And I'm very grateful to finally. I know the devil going to be mad at me. So I need y'all to keep me in prayer because the devil, he done brought the hurricane to Houston knowing I'm finna bring this bread video to y'all. It is what it is. He know I'm going to keep, listen, let's go. My hands ain't big for nothing. It's what it is. It is what it is. Let's go. Okay, he didn't hit me with the hailstorm. He didn't hit me with the hurricane. The Jezebels be trying to come after me. It's all good. At least you know if something happened to me, I went out fighting like Mike Tyson. It's all good. But, you know, if it be the Most High's will, nothing happen to me if y'all can keep me in prayer. Because I didn't release something that white folk, Edom, they didn't want to come out to you guys. But now Jake got their bread back. Not only will they be saying the prayer, give us this day our daily bread, they're going to be making the daily bread. Not just the regular white flour bread. You see, you got white people telling us to eat white bread, but they eating black bread. What's going on here? Huh? You got white people telling us to eat white bread, but then in the background, they eating black bread. You see this brown in this bread? What's going on? All that color in that bread? What's going on? Don't do that to us. Don't do that. That just ain't right. So I want everybody out there to be gripping grain. I need everybody on their Facebook and their Instagram to be gripping grain. Okay? Like you flipping in a range. Huh? Anyway, Elder Rawchaa, I'm out. All jokes aside. I got to go eat me a little dinner. It's late, but I sacrificed a little time for you guys, and I'm very grateful to have shared this with you. And I pray that it inspires you guys, and that it was educational for you, and that hey, it's something that you guys are going to get on the internet and go to Azure Standards because that's just the main one I get mine from. There's other ones I get it from too, but this is the main affordable one. AZURE standards, I think it's .com, Azure Standards. They sell it on Amazon, whatever the case may be. I think even for the sisters who probably can't afford it, they will take food stamps, I think, on Amazon for some of this wheat. It's just going to be a little bit more expensive. So I got to look out for those people who probably can't afford it with cash as well. But put it in your 5-gallon buckets, airtight. Put it in your 50-gallon containers, right? And just start it. And watch the perfection of the Most High. Anyway, peace and blessings. And just keep me in prayer because I know the devil's going to be mad. I really don't care. But I had to bring this out to my people and bring it out to where they can successfully do it. Make sure you order your meals offline before they start going up on the price. Now that we done brought this out, you know they watch everything we do. Make sure you order your meals. Make sure you order your bread grinders, okay? Because when Jake start doing things, the whole world changed. Now these little black and brown babies gonna be coming out. You thought they was jumping in the NBA? Let me tell you right now, they gonna be jumping buildings again, and that's why they had to hide this bread. Because Hitler even said, hey, he even said this was one of his secret weapons when it came to winning wars. The nutrition is that vital and that important. Can you put the link, please? Okay, let me see if I can put the link because I was just finna head out and put the Hebrew Academy on. Make sure you guys join that Hebrew and Bible Academy because we going to continue to drop top knowledge on you. Give me 1 second. Let me put the Azure Standards link really quick. Okay. So we can be like our forefather Joseph. Okay, hold up. They gave me the wrong one there. Azure. Let me see. Is this the right one? That's not the right one. Hold on, guys. Come on now. Father have mercy. Google don't want to give it to me. I'm gonna find it for y'all. There we go. I got it. Okay, I was making sure I had the right one. I got it for you guys, okay? All right, so make sure you guys get your bread. Okay. And let me tell you something about this. The Bible says that the world shall be blessed through our seed. He told it to Abraham. That all nations shall be blessed through us. Now look at this. Jake get ready to go up on Azure standards, and Azure standards gonna be looking like, hey. So they don't even know the power of the teachers of the Most High is hey. But eventually, hey, let's just start there. I'm gonna keep it right there. Is it safe for pregnant women to intake moringa? No. And in fact, when you're pregnant, you want to always make sure that you actually look things up. Now, obviously, my sister, you can put other things in the bread. You can put kale powder. You can put other things that's safe for pregnancy, but it's up to you and your husband to make sure what's safe and what's not. Things like moringa, things like hibiscus are not safe during pregnancy. Things like raspberry tea, until it's time to get close to that, it's not safe. So you always need to research what is safe during your pregnancy. You don't need to put it in the bread. You're going to eat the rest of your nutrients and the rest of your food. It's just something if you just want a power-packed bread. If you want to add omegas on it, you can add sunflower seeds on top, flaxseed, okay, on top of it, so it doesn't mess up your batter and it doesn't rise how you want it. So it's different things you guys can do and that you guys are going to get good at, okay? So Azure standards, I wasn't really trying to advertise them like that, fair use, but I had to put that out there for you guys. Anyway, make sure you go to historytimes.org to join our Hebrew and Bible Academy, where we're going to be dropping top knowledge. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Please forgive me for coming on late. It was not easy throwing a documentary together, for my wife and my daughter. I mean, they did it in a few days. So, it was not easy. We have a lot that we have to do on the homestead. So, peace and blessings to you all. Okay. Stay encouraged. Stay positive. Stay away from mess. Stay away from different doctrines. Stay away from things that have nothing to do with the kingdom. And let me tell you, never let anybody take your crown. Never let anybody talk down, you understand, on your elders. You need to check them at the door. Never let anybody come in your home with gossip. No, it's time for us to start standing up for our God, standing up for our people, and stop being 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And even with that being said, forgive one another. Let's continue to move on with all positivity and keep it moving, because the Most High is going to bless us to get in our kingdom. He's going to bless us along the way as these kingdoms fall. Are we going to go through some things? Yeah. But as long as we are fighting, he will continue to open different doors and funnel us through where we have to be. Peace and blessing to you all and your families. I am praying for all of those who may be going through this weather warfare, okay, and these secret, spiritual, demonic military operations, okay? But guess what? We're going to make it through Jacob's trouble. And this is just one of the tools that can help us. God's bread, his daily bread. Peace and blessings. I am Elder Rawchaa. Make sure you guys go to KIISupplements.com, so you can get your mind right. And make sure you go to historytimes.org. Peace and blessings.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one No religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.